And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Welcome to the Guerilla Roundup for day 2 of the first Ashes test from Edgbaston. I'm very pleased to be joined today by Colin Souter, who's been looking at it from the Scottish point of view, which is, I don't know how neutral that is, Colin, but it's great to have you with us again.
A pleasure to be here as always.
So I'll kick off with a brief summary. We started 5 minutes late today. There's been a little bit of rain around, and they were running the rope around the outfield, so tiny bit late. But the day was mostly overcast, and we started with Australia at 14 for no wicket after 4 overs. In the course of the day, we saw Warner go to Broad for 9. Labuschagne out first ball to a rotten shot outside the off stump, caught by Bairstow. This one was caught, thank goodness, off Broad. Stephen Smith never looked particularly comfortable, and he was out LBW to Stokes for 16 off 59 deliveries. Travis Head was lively and looked pretty good, actually. He made 50 off 63 balls, but then managed to get himself caught at short cover by Crawley from Moen. No, sorry, it was a short mid wicket, wasn't it? By Crawley
Yeah,
off
mid-wicket.
Moen Ali for 50 from 63. Cameron Green was very slow earlier on, but hit a couple of beautiful boundaries just before the tea break. And then, for some inexplicable reason, came down the wicket to Moeen Ali to a ball that turned quite a lot. It turned 8 degrees as opposed to the normal turn of 2 degrees, which had been shown, which was completely beat him and bowled him. So it was the best ball Ali bowled all day. But the hero of the day was Usman Khawaja, who made 126 not out off 279 balls. He survived being bowled by Broad with the new ball off what turned out to be a new no ball. And Alex Carey is on 52 not out off 80 deliveries, a lively innings from him. He also survived being dropped by Bairstow, who had also previously missed the stumping of Green when he was on naught. So he didn't have a great day either. But at the end of the day, Australia 311 for 5. They're still 82 runs behind, but in a fairly solid position. And that's where we stand going into day 3. So, Colin, your feelings about how today went?
Um, a bit annoyed with Australia, but it seemed very one-paced, one-dimensional at times. The Stokes, I think one thing that was definitely a key from it was very, very good for his field placements and his manoeuvring of the field placements. It always seemed to have a plan, and it was a decent plan they were working to for most of the time. So I'll give him his credit for that. But the wickets that Australia gave were needless, most of them. And you did come out with a one exception. Ali bowled a really good ball to get rid of Green. But again, it wasn't an unplayable ball. It was a ball that, if you treated it like the wicket that it is, flat and kind of dead, it was back of a length and probably just should have been played off the back foot, but instead he tried to treat it like an English wicket, get forward, get the big pad into there, and it turned too much for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take from or overall summary take of the game today.
So you mentioned the wicket there being flat and kind of dead. I mean, my characterization of this pitch is it was a shocker, is a shocker. It's under par for Test cricket, and that's not to say that it's not the sort of wicket that's been produced elsewhere as well. I know Australia's managed it at the MCG on a number of occasions, and not dissimilar to a lot of Pakistan pitches. But it's definitely substand for cricket. There's just nothing in it for the bowlers at all. So it took the batsmen to get themselves out on virtually
Yeah,
every occasion, and I don't think that's a good cricket wicket.
it's very
Um,
un-English as well as a wicket, that's a weird
yes,
part of it all.
yeah.
It's yeah, that's what I can't get from it.
Um, as far as the bowlers were concerned, I think Stuart Broad bowled with a bit of life and got a couple of wickets in return for that. Robinson and Anderson, who bowled 17 and 15 overs each, and Robinson went for 49 runs, Anderson for 30, but neither of them looked in the least bit penetrative. Robinson looked off his game, I thought.
I I've written down ineffective and slow.
Yeah,
So Robinson was, I think, averaging under 80. It's just for this level of cricket, it's not really good enough
no,
in my eyes.
there was
Like the last
no
time I
sense of
watched it,
him being penetrative at all, was there?
no, if it's not moving, then it's not good enough. If it's moving, then he's got all the craft in the world. And the same with Anderson with a swing. But at least Anderson was quite a line and length control. Whereas Robinson, every now and again, you get a leg side ball and he's over.
Yeah.
And it was because he was that slow, it was just, okay, well, I'll pick that off. And
Ben, yeah. And Ben Stokes did bowl 7 overs, and he did get the wicket of Smith for a ball that just basically went straight on and hit him on the pad. But
yeah.
he didn't look in the least bit good in his bowling. He's not fit. He bowled 6 no balls, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
And Stuart Broad managed 6 no balls as well, including the one that he bowled a perler to get Khawaja out, but
Yeah.
of course it was a no ball. And Joe Root and Harry Brook, of all people, bowled 10 overs between them for only 20 runs, but there was nothing there going on. And the
Joe
other
Root was
bowler,
arguably Joe Root was arguably my bowler of the day.
yeah,
He actually he bowled to a correct line and he was trying to land it exactly where the rough marks were for the left-handed batsman.
yeah, yes,
And that's reflective on his actual economy and what was going on.
yeah.
They looked nervous and attentive when he was bowling, and so they just sort of kept a distance on the back foot and just blocked him away. Really,
Yeah, that's true. Moeen bowled 29 overs and took 2 wickets for 124. But frankly, apart from the ball that got green, I thought his bowling was really ordinary. There was a lot of long hops, a lot of hittable balls, and he went for 4 1/4 an over, where basically everybody else went for 2 or 3 an over. I'm not impressed with Moeen's bowling. I'm sorry, it's just pretty ordinary.
yeah, the wickets column kind of fluffs up a bit
Yeah,
the actual bowling performance. He and he's due. He did kind of what we expected him to. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I
he's
think
put in
that's
the
right.
deep end very quickly, and he managed to do a job.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And that's the sort of job he was doing when he was dropped by England.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
about it.
yeah. That sums it up pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah. But they did at least get through 90 overs with 5 minutes to spare in the 6.5 hours, so that was encouraging. Uh, as far as the Australian batting is concerned, I was really pleased to see Khawaja make 100. I thought he started very slowly, but he hit some beautiful pull shots in particular.
Oh yeah,
Just and on a wicket like this, bowling short was often just asking for to be pulled. But
and it was the
Khawaja did it.
manner of the
Yeah.
pulls as well. It wasn't like bouncers that were eye line
No.
pulling them. He was pulling ones at knee-roll height
Yeah.
and just picking them on a length that were just they were real good.
Yeah.
And I think there was one in this second to last over that was shot of the day where it went through was it mid wicket, and I think he pulled it off the offside through mid wicket and mid on, and it just looked a beauty of an absolute four
Yeah,
going straight through.
absolutely. It was a real class innings, and I mean, it's no coincidence that this wicket is very like the Pakistani wickets. In Pakistan last year, he played 5 innings in all. He made 200s, 290s, and 44 not out. And
Mm.
you know, it's just a continuation of that sort of play.
In fact,
Um,
the funniest thing out of the lot that we're going on about all this adventurous baseball and
yeah,
just impact cricket. The two leading run scorers are the two test players,
that's
and
exactly
that's what they
true.
are.
That's exactly true. And you know, we talk about baseball, and I mean, the only area where it was apparent from England's point of view was in the somewhat funky field placements on occasions. I mean, they didn't feel too badly on the whole, but apart from Bairstow's problems, which we'll talk about in a second, but uh, my sense was that Australia went into this game saying they weren't going to be phased by baseball and they'd play their game. And they played exactly the game they played at the Oval last week
Yeah,
against India, and it's, you know, they're able to do it. And I know some people aren't happy about the fact that, you know, the Bear was saying, oh, well, you know, after this number of overs, England would have been ahead of themselves, if you know what I mean. Uh,
yeah,
but Australia doesn't care. They've still only lost 5 wickets. They're in a position where if they continue to bat this way on this pitch, they may well reach 450, 500 if all goes well for them in the morning and the weather holds. Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, they may not.
They,
England may still get a lead, but it's it's exactly the sort of place they would have hoped to be at the end of the day, in my view.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, the one that gets me is the Warner wicket,
Yeah, go
because
talk about it. Yeah,
normally it's, you know, Broad Bunny. It's, oh my God, he cannot play this. He just doesn't. He just chucked it away. It like it was, and I reckon if you hadn't chopped on, there was a big scoring for it here,
yeah,
and that would have been a massive demon lifter.
yeah,
Like this wicket is perfect for him. It's collaging him altogether. Back foot pull shot game.
yeah,
That is Dave Warner all together. So yeah, it's,
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, when you look at it, Australia scored 300 for 5 in a day. For a day's Test cricket, that's perfectly satisfactory, particularly when the opposition's only got 393 on the board.
yeah.
Um, as far as Bairstow is concerned, so he, uh, Green's
Let's
second
hear your take
ball,
from it.
Green's second ball, for some unknown reason,
Yeah,
he marched down the pitch to try and hit Ali and missed it completely. And there was a stumping, it seemed to me, easily for the taking, and Bairstow dropped it. And
yeah,
then uh, later on, I can't remember who the bowler was, but um, Carey got a very fine edge, went straight to Broad to Bairstow, and he managed to drop that.
was it
Uh,
Ali again?
and you know, it was a piece of cake as a keeper.
It was
There was
Ali
a
or Root anyway.
Yeah, there was a very, very hard chance that was nicked a little later
Yeah,
that I don't think was
no,
really catchable. But you're our wicket-keeping expert. What's your analysis in that regard?
he can't wicket keep for spin. That is pure and simple. Like, and it's not a reflection of something that you won't be able to do, but anything of a wicket keeping practice takes time, and it takes loads of time. You have to be doing, and it's instinct, reflexes, knowing of when to do things, and he just hasn't got that. And he won't have that because there'll be too much dedicated his time into batting, because that's what he's there for.
Yeah.
And he'll play okay the whole series. When it's seam bowlers, he'll cope, and he might spill one or two, but it'll probably be it won't impact the game. But the spinning ones and the ones he's dropped or the stumping or anything like that hasn't really affected the game too much so far, apart from that carry one at the end. Now that carry one at the end, he didn't. He was flat-footed. He was just looked bulky. He just looked stood behind the wicket as a statue rather than someone who's trying to move towards a anticipated edge or anything like that. He just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to be his game.
Well, I mean, my view on this team is that they, until he's properly fit, they should leave Stokes out and let folks come in his place. And I think they'd improve their chances by about 10%.
No, the only issue with that, Stokes is never going to be fit. The knee he has now
Yeah.
is something that has gone beyond damaged, and it's just a recuperation of just time and not playing cricket, and the age he's at, it'll be a career ender sort of thing.
Well, I think he's a lame duck in this team at the moment. I mean, I understand his captaincy skills are very important, but you keep him in the change room to G people on and have people who understand what's going on,
Yeah,
continuing it on the field. But frankly,
if he
I think,
bats like that,
yeah,
yeah, terrible. Like he's nearly a walking wicket. If
yeah, yeah.
the only time yeah, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess the other person worth mentioning in terms of the batting today, well, both of them, Travis Head and Alex Carey, both played the games they have always played, basically. You know, batting between 70 and 80 uh, per 100, and
yeah,
you know, Head got 50, Carey's 52 not out. It's a really useful contribution from your number 5 and your number 7 to
yeah,
have. And I think it puts Australia in a really good situation to have someone like Carey coming in at 7 so that they've got a reasonably long batting lineup. Because Cummins, well, after that, it's fairly thin.
yeah. Cummins is the last recognised
Yeah,
someone who can hold a bat.
and he's certainly not as successful as he used to be in the past. So
He'll be okay. Well, he's going to get out for a duck now, but he'll be okay here because it's not doing anything.
yeah,
It's just when it's going to be seaming about and things like that, he's going to struggle with.
yeah,
But he might hold up an end here quite well.
yeah,
But the head wicket was, I don't honestly get the point. So the way I kind of look at it, when spin bowlers are in an attack and spin bowlers, either you're banned. So I like to not absolutely milk a bowler if they're bowling shite. So if you cart someone about for 20 odd and over in 1 over, what's the first thing that happens?
you're
Right,
taking off.
take him out of the attack.
Yep.
It's much better just to go 1 and over. Right, I'm
Yeah,
going to belt him out of it. Oh, but I'll block him quite a few rest of the ones. I'll make
yeah,
him look good, but all I'm doing is milking him for it. So in that over, I think he got the wicket off. He had 4, then he had a 6, and then went again for another Yahoo. And you're like, why are you doing this? Why?
yeah,
Why? You've already proved your point this over. Calm it down.
yeah,
You don't have to do 30 and over. It's just that just
yeah. So we're at a stage now where it's actually well balanced, this game, and if the weather
yeah.
allows it, I think anything could happen. So I'm enjoying that aspect and enjoying the fact that we've got two totally different approaches, and each side is sticking to their guns in that, and I think that's great. Um, a couple of things. Firstly, a reminder that we are supported by Ponting Wines, and there's some excellent wines available at 15% off through Guerilla Cricket. So if you just go to our website, click on the link to Ponting Wines, it'll take you through there, and the 15% code GC Ashes 2023 will come up to give you that 15% off. Secondly, the Guerilla of the day and the Tweeter of the day. Now, I almost gave the Guerilla of the day to the Bear because he was quite spectacular in his emotional outbursts today.
Yeah.
Initially, when I think Warner was out, he was somewhat over the top, but particularly when Usman Khawaja was bowled, and then all of a sudden he wasn't bowled because of the no ball. I thought that was quite spectacular. But we had a special guest today. A friend of Hendo's who I met 4 years ago in York to watch a county game up there, was with us in the studio today. John Bullock, and made a sterling performance sitting next to Hendo and keeping him in line. So John is our Guerilla of the day. And without any shame at all, I will nominate as our tweeter of the day, or our social media person of the day, um, John Rock. Is it John Rockefeller? Yes, John Rockefeller on YouTube made a very generous donation of $20 to us, and I've said before that you can buy our love. Uh, you can tweet. Pirate Badger gave some lovely, amusing tweets this morning with AI generated reviews of wines. And he was well in the running until we got a $20 donation from Frank Rockefeller, which really trumped it, I'm afraid. So thank you for that. We always are looking for whatever support we can get. So we welcome you coming to patreon.com/Guerilla Cricket and becoming a contributor on a regular basis to us from as little as $2 a month, in return for which you get many benefits. And if you like this, please click the like button, share it. By all means, put your comments below, which we will endeavour to respond to, or tweet us at Guerilla Cricket, because if there's one thing Guerilla Cricket is about, it's the involvement of our audience in everything that we do, and it makes us what we are, sets us apart. So thank you for being with us. Thank you very much, Colin. Is there anything else you'd like to add about today?
No, not really. Just reiterate what you say. Get your tweets in. Sillier the better.
Okay, well, thanks for that, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Good night.
Right. Thanks, folks.
And now it's time for